After stepping outside the Cardian, I felt my body go under. I was out of breath, and everything seemed to be slipping away from me. Was I drowning? Thoughts in my head rushed back to me. Yes, the Cardian. It was a spherical capsule in the sky. Did I just plummet to my death? The sheer force of falling should have killed me. At least, the water here to break my fall. This is suffocating, almost unbearable. I can still breathe, but the fact that I can't see anything is killing me. It feels as if you've been wrapped up, restricted. I have to swim out of here. You rise up to the surface of the water to find yourself, once again, at the Malduvian River. I must have been here for a while, all the way from Murongo made its way here. A short hike later. Hey Keiichi, silver-tongued, thank goodness you're here. There's something you need to see. I almost died today, Keiichi, so I'm not in the mood for any more of your reprimands or your opinions. But silver-tongued, I'm going to sleep. I didn't even have the chance to take a nap in between yesterday and today. Wait, don't go to sleep. I'll make you breakfast. You can't, Keiichi. You're stuck in a jar, remember? You yawn. What I need is a shower and a nap. No, silver-tongue, look. Keiichi shoves this jar across the counter so it can move closer to me. You see this? You're in the Avant News. What? I'm not newsworthy. Also, I've never heard of them before. Probably some independent underground Zine. While I reported your new alliance with Cormium. What? Look. Nice. I'm in the news. I've become famous. I move the Zine towards me and start skimming through the dirty and tarnished papers. Yep, that's definitely me. And there's Cormium. How could they have known about it so soon? Must have been the time it took me to get out of the river and to walk back home. Well, that's impossible. What is? Keiichi, how do you think they knew of my conversation with Cormium? Are the details accurate? I pick up the Zine off the counter. After further observation, I realized that all the details were kept relatively vague. The conversation had taken place, there was some conflict, parties involved came to an agreement. There's no actual definitive information written in this entire thing. The fact that they know this is itself a bad sign. Wait, who wrote this article? Diolithotic. Diolithotic? The one who knows all. Heard of them before? Is it those squid tentacles that like run a library? Never actually. I thought I would have most, if not all, of the great chairs pegged. But I don't know them, they're not worth my time. Isn't that what a lot of people would assume about you too? The difference is, I'm trying to stay discreet. Clearly, this Dulithic wants to get the name in the spotlight. You're failing on the discreet part. I wouldn't call it failing. Be honest, Keiichi. Nobody reads the Avant News. Listen, I'm going to go shower. Hello, Keiichi. The little parasite moves its tail out of the hole in the jar to start flipping through the pages. Wait. This is literally just a copy of the same page. You see how unprofessional they are? Silver-tongued. I don't think this is a real Zine. All of the news they have is outdated. Wait. This page is straight up ripped out from Doom Apocalypse. What are you... Wait, you have a point. This Zine isn't just messy, it's almost incoherent. I keep flipping through the pages until I reach the final one. With it is a date, time, location, and a message. I'll be waiting. Diolithotic. Ha! What kind of ominous message is that? Silver-tongued, do not take this lightly. This being knew of your conversation and knows where you live. So, what? They're just a journalist, they can't hurt me. Anyone can hurt me. Have you seen me? I'm all skins and bones. I don't think they're a journalist. All of this is a cover-up. I could look into it with Globin. She'll tell me if this Dolantic is someone I should keep an eye on. That reminds me. Silver-tongued. Globin says she doesn't wish to associate with you for today. Sorry, what? Not associate with me. Fine, academics are always going to be elitist. Ask your Gnarg friend at the Zilker. He says he doesn't want to associate with you either. How are you telling them? How are they getting to you when you're trapped in a jar? Hold on. Why all of a sudden do they want to withhold information? There are my sources. I haven't changed or done anything. True, I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. Unless it wasn't me who changed, but them. Wait, what if Dunegotic brought them out? The little vermins. I smash my hand on the counter, and Keiichi's jar slips off the table. I catch it in the nick of time. Excuse me, Keiichi. I almost died. Looks like we're both going to be someone else's meat unless we get a step ahead. They're in Goteen. We should play this little game, huh? Buying out my sources and asking me for a meeting. What could they possibly want? I don't have a clue. It couldn't be money or any artifacts. Frankly, you don't have anything. You're completely broke. That's what I'm going to have to solve once I get there. But, before I do, I'm showering. Can you give me some juice before you go? Sure. I take from Frisk juice, form before and pour it through the hole in Keiichi's jar. That was a lot of typo. Tell me when to stop. Okay. No? No, keep going please. I see where this is going. More. Stop. Okay, stop. Yeesh. Okay, I'm stopping. Keiichi start licking the Frisk juice that's all around the jar. I even start swimming inside instead. It even starts swimming inside it. After you've washed yourself off, you know you have to start prep for your little talk. Dilithotic. Dilithotic is a strange one. You don't know anything about it. Appearing to be trustworthy could never help, and showing that you know more than it can work too. Perhaps you could intimidate it, or try to befriend it. Maybe you shouldn't try to be too friendly. If you find some dirt on it, deception could also help. As much as it pains you, it doesn't look like you have any other choice. You have 3 points left to spend. All in perception, baby. Intellect, knowledge. Supreme? House appears powerful. Appearing is trustworthy, respectful, and thoughtful. More my ability to be likable, charming, and agreeable. Pre-science. My capacity to retain and remember knowledge. How I make sound judgments. Intellect, perception, knowledge, presence, and charisma. You read the papers trying to find out anything regarding the person who wrote that Avant article. But it seems like they erased all of their tracks. Or, Keiichi is right, and the newspaper was just a cover-up for something more sinister. Your preparation time for the dialogue is up. Now, the silver-tongued will attempt to win the favor of the interlocutor. The Olithotic, the one who hears all. After a couple of hours, I reached the midtown of Solace, the listed location of where I was supposed to be. Strangely enough, or perhaps unsurprisingly, nobody is in near sight can be seen. I'm an hour half walk away from the nearest location, Orpa, and caught in an obscure, closed-off location. I was early, sure, but I wanted to seem at least competent. Or maybe I should have shown up late to seem like I don't care. What does it matter? The choice has already been made. Not with my powers, they ain't. But the most frightening thing is, I exactly know how I'm going to handle this. I virtually know nothing about them, but they seem to know almost everything about me. Almost. I need to deduce exactly how much they know and why they've come after me. Suddenly, you're a knock on 5 doors. On all of the buildings that surround you? What's happening? Then, an airworm approaches you from underneath a tunnel. Airworm? Please, follow me, silver-tongued. Down there? My sincerest apologies. You're an ooze-based organism, so you can't slip under. Go inside the building, 2 ways up from the right. Head straight through the door that's covered in black. Take the ladders down. You'll find me underground, and I can guide you to the master. The master, eh? Haha. The Olithotic is going on a little bit of a power trip, I see. No problem. After navigating through the doors and tunnels, you meet with a new airworm along with the one at Solus. Glad to see our guest is still here. We will show you to the master. You continue walking down through some tunnels filled in an inky sea. There are specks of orange and red sand along the floor, and walls where earworms dive in and out. Surprisingly, there's also signs of green fauna in this place. And above in the glass tubes, you see creatures of the night floating and swimming around. For suppose nobody, the Olithotic sure has money to spend. The airworms that guided you here silently dismiss themselves. Then, in front of me, finally, the monster of the hour rises before me. The Olithotic bursts through the ink and wraps its tail around the walls of sand. It resembles a giant airworm, except it seems to be mutating into a far-fallen. As it whips its tail around, trying to escape the quicksand, you notice how the Olithotic towers over you. Yeah, this thing can totally beat me in a fight. It makes a rattling noise with its mouth, and the tendril gills on the side of its face start shaking. It sounds of brass shells knocking up against a metal maze, but you don't know if it's going to fire. So, you've got an interesting place. The one who hears all, the Olithotic. What are you implying about it? It's hidden well beyond underground, about miles from any recognizable place. You've structured it in such a way that makes it encompass this entire small town, and its design seems to be perfect for worms like yourself to travel. Well, color me surprised. Looks like someone can see. Clearly patronizing me. Didn't have the time to argue with it. I'm not surprised if you were to have some questions, but unfortunately, it is I who's going to be questioning you. Me? Last time I recall, I've been going around committing crimes. I'm a malformed siphon, something hardly worth mentioning. Confident body language. Well, you're in luck, because someone took notice. But the whole point was that I didn't want to be noticed. At least not yet. I don't know if I, or I should be the one making demands. But judging by the Longatic stature, they keep on changing the name. It definitely has the physical advantage over me. Oh well, just have to make sure I don't lose my cool. As long as the questions are anodyne, I can hardly care less. Fair enough. So, I want to know a little bit about your conversation with Finwë. And the reason I should tell you is because you're not leaving until you do. The tunnel entrance that I came from was suddenly blocked by black ink and orange sand. I could hear the airworms enclosing the way out with some arcane magic. So tell me, what happened? What else would a lost soul do but visit Finwë? You are a lost soul. Yeah, the one that made it out too. Turns out Finwë is going a little easier on the constitution for what a lost being means. So once made the cut, but I don't make it anymore. And why is that? Because in that miraculous magical moment, I found my true life's purpose. And that is to eat my breakfast, which I sorely miss. So, if you could just let me go, that would be really sweet of you. Not a chance. Being snarky doesn't work? Fine. But that wasn't the only high-profile person you came across. No. The following day, you're invited to Cardian, which hosts Cormium, the heart of the Vinakava. What's shocking is that you somehow left that place without having been assimilated. You would have been the first person to do so. Second if you count Cerebrum. So, what happened when you were talking to Cormium? They invited me over so we could see eye to eye. I mean, this one's kind of true. I wanted to join the Vinakava, but that might link it back to the shore area where I was talking to the heirs, and like disagreeing with why I was able to leave unscathed. So I'll do the first one. They invited me over to see if we could see eye to eye about, well, They wanted some changes for the chromium structure. Normally, a collective would just consult itself. They were wise enough to realize they needed fresh eyes, specifically from a singleton's perspective. Mostly a chat about differences between collective and singleton lifestyles. I suggested possible improvements, which were, too many to name and too specific to chromium. Say, if I write a book on this, would you buy it? Most likely not. Hush. We should really support independent creators. Definitely. It takes a brief pause, staring at me. Do you believe me? Almost like how it beckons the silence between us to speak for it. There is a gravity to this moment that wasn't there before. There's going to be no more niceties from it? Niceties? It opens its jaws. I don't think you understand the weight of the situation you're in. It's nervous and worried. Why? I know almost everything about you. Almost? You almost know? Tell me, what's the thing you're missing? Or perhaps you're embellishing, overcompensating for something. Damn. Well, you listen here. That Avant Zine has contact filled with information about you. You must have read it, given that the location, time, and date of our meeting was written at the back. So you must have seen what was flipped through. So? I didn't know I'd have to spell this out for you. But I'm the one in charge here. And I want to make that very clear. Everything and anything you say can and will be used against you. Police or something? Yeesh. It doesn't need to be so aggressive about it though. Is it confident or cautious? In essence, I have the power to ruin you. If you want to walk away from here, free of consequence, the only thing you have to do is comply with what I'm saying. Do you understand? Oh, are you implying I didn't understand the situation before? No need to spell it out for me. I wasn't born yesterday. Duolingatok. Duolethatok. Duolethatic. Yeah, whatever. Listen, you have to lay out your position, I understand. But don't patronize me, okay? Because I think we can learn a little thing about each other. I think I'll let myself get comfortable. I see it myself in some hard crystallized sand, coated in a layer of gooey ink. It hardly constitutes as a chair, but it's the most comfortable I can be. Suit yourself. I know. I can see clear as day what it's trying to do. Underground network, buying out all of my sources, demanding to answer its questions. I somehow got involved in some family crime syndicate. But how? All I did was siphon people's souls. I didn't get involved in crime. I'm just trying to make a living out here. What's your problem? Lobin is a research scientist. She wouldn't be involved in this sort of lifestyle. The Gnarg Azilka could have fabricated some story about me getting involved in crime. But why would he? We hardly met. Unless this isn't about crime at all. The best I can do is sit and wait. So, what happens now? I'd like to get you know a little better. Specifically, I don't know what to start out with first. How about your parents? Sorry, my what? Is this a dating sim now? Parents. The guardians who raised you. The beings that, through some process, birthed you into existence. Huh. Yeah, I don't have one of those. What? So you were born from the void? Born from the nothing? No? I was... Wait. Why are you asking me any of this? As growing impatient, I'm doing the question asking here. Remember? So I'm not associated with them anymore. Oh, could you tell me why that is? I don't know the truth. I was born malformed, misshapen, or whatever else you want to call it. The conspicio mater is like a vat of nutrients that forms all of our kind. And what kind is? Usually, they allow us to properly form and then let us go into the big bright world. But for me, they figured it would be better if I didn't follow that path. What am I doing? I'm not entitled to tell this guy anything. So yeah, that's why I'm not associated with them. I'm not talking to them. My apologies. Trying to empathize with me. Not a chance. I see right through you. You're doing the exact same thing I'm doing. Next, I was hoping you could tell me more about the pet you keep in your apartment. You could hardly call it that. It seems to resemble the Fructogluck parasite species. But you have one just lying around. I don't have it lying around. I keep it safely kept in a jar. But why would you keep it with you? I was going to eat it, but I wasn't particularly hungry that day. So I just kept it around and got used to it. Would you ever use it on someone else? Why is yes and no both lies? Let's see what telling the truth continues to do. You know what? That thought has never really crossed my mind. Really. It's like a vermin. It remains in the house, but I never really acknowledge its existence. I don't see any potential source of use from it, and it doesn't bother me in return. Turn your body around. What? Seriously, this guy thinks I'm infected from the parasite? You unwillingly turn around your body, lift all of your limbs for Delacartic to see. Sorry, just had to make sure. So, the parasite has not used any kind of weapon? No, I never reflect on that kind of responsibility. I don't exactly like referring to Keiichi as that parasite, but the moment this bile finds out I'm slightly interested in Keiichi's well-being, I'd only be in harm's way. It's not exactly that thing would even listen to me. Then, I see it take out a piece of vellum from the ashes of sand. You can still smell the veal that it came from. Using one of its tendrils, it starts writing down information on the vellum canvas. And finally, let's get to the point. Your power of insight. Damn. That's my biggest secret, isn't it? Can you... How does it know? Since when? I don't understand. The lights are off. Your mind starts to close in, and your sensations numb. You don't feel scared, frightened, not even surprised or shocked or curious. Just confusion, ringing in your head, fading in and out. No, focus. You know as well as I do that there are gifted monsters, granted special abilities unique to their kind. There have been legendary ones, such as the uncontested strength, or the power of clairvoyance. Most monster species have subpar powers, such as the power of misery or the power of invisibility. But I don't think I've ever heard of the power of insight before. More interesting than that. That's deceiving you. I've never heard of the species that is associated with that power. So, tell me, Silver-Tongued, what are you, and what can your power really do? How would I know? Remember when I said I don't associate with my parents anymore? Yeah, that's probably why I know little to nothing on my original powers. This, of course, is a lie. The last thing I need is Dulingodong knowing about my insight, or about me being a siphon. But surely, you must have used it at some point if you have referenced it. References to abstract concepts mean nothing. It's just a code word I developed for my tactics. Tactics? You know, the core components that go into conversation. The things that go in when you want to convince a person to do something. Kind of what you're doing, actually. Getting the presence of your character right. Knowing all the pre-signs beforehand. And having good perception. That's when you've got good insight. I take a pause and flop myself down into the floor to relax. Unfortunately, my dear friend, you don't seem to be a really friendly companion. Work on being more charismatic. And also, one other thing. What's with all the questions? Are you reading some lucubration on me? At least, let me get some of the academic funds, or compensate me for this time. So, you aren't even remotely aware of what an anomaly you are. I'm not a product of nature, nor any sort of defect. I never said the word defect. I said that you're something out of the ordinary. It doesn't insinuate that you're better or worse than anybody else. You're just channeling your own insecurities in my words. Why do you feel like you're inferior? I don't remember you introducing yourself as my therapist. Because if you are, this has to be the most unconvincing sell you've ever made. Although now, with these questions, things do start to make sense. So we can eliminate the possibility of it thinking that I'm part of some crime syndicate. No, it seems to be more interested in my past. Who I am as a species member, my appearance and my powers. There is either some secret artifact related to my species, or... But no, why would they ask about Keiichi? Keiichi's not related to any grand history. Hell, Dulathotic seemed to be more informed as to what Keiichi was over me. I knew the specific type of parasite Keiichi is. The only connecting factor is me. But why would it concern itself with a nobody like me? Unless... Also, I noticed you didn't answer my earlier question on insight. You just kind of blanked out. So, I would like to ask again about your power of insight. Sometimes, you just get bombarded with too many questions that it becomes more than enough. Come on, we don't have to do this. Listen to this guy. There's the audacity to tell me what to do. Asking me questions. Think. It's the one in control. It stops here. Now's the time to use the power of insight to enter Dulathotic's mind. Find the keyword that could help you. No timer this time. You may be curious as to how I can do this. It's simple. I don't need to be there to hear anything. All I need is my power of surveil. That's the answer. I can't overhear everything. I need the last couple of seconds. But it's enough to tell me Tashin will be in Lucenscape. Now hurry, or it's too late. Surveil. The power of surveil. So that's how the swarm knows all of my conversations. It was never there. I could just overhear the last few seconds of the dialogue. Sorry, 1 second. Dulathotic's body starts screaming around, going in and out of the floor of the tunnel. The orange sand and ink starts to blend together, and soon past the earworm's body. It falls into the floor, and then comes directly out of the ceiling again. Almost like it was transporting. What's this ringing in my ear? XX. 2 smaller earworms appear before Dulathotic, calling from the ceiling. Yes. Right away, master. And then they disappear. I can't understand what they're saying in that greasy, deep language. But I'm guessing it's some archaic earthworm stuff. Maybe Arcanacid. I apologize. But I'm feeling quite unwell, as you can probably see. Oh, I was going to feel more unwell after I spill the news. Don't worry. These kind of things happen with age. Trust me, I'd know. But speaking of my knowledge, you know what else I do know? I'll spare you the trouble of any meaningless persiflage. You may know a lot about me, but you're mistaken if you think I didn't come here prepared. Why don't you tell me about your power? You know, the power of surveil. Dulathotic's teeth are bruising obscurously. It's panicking. I don't know what you're... I don't know what... Don't play dumb with me. You're on this whole tangent about me needing to comply and answer your questions. What happened to that noble honesty, So, if you're going to bring up my past, I have the right to bring up yours. You and I both know that each power is assigned to a specific species. Last time I checked, earworms weren't naturally gifted with the power of surveil. So what's happening with that? What are you, Dulathotic? The name is Dulathotic. Last time, Silvertongue. And if you can recall... My use of insight on people leaves mostly the consistent side effects of fatigue, pain in the head, chills, nausea. But it seems that Dulathotic is particularly in suffering the worst parts of the side effects. You're not really in a condition to talk back to me now. But if I can tell you about my insight, you can tell me about your surveil, can you? You already know what it is, don't you? What do you need to hear from me? The power of surveil. the ability to record the last few seconds of any conversation. There are boundaries on distance and a limit cap on the number of recordings, but it means that dual orthotic. Hey, I got the name right. Anyways, I'm guessing this is the means through which dual orthotic knew of my conversations, and it's why it has been particularly vague of the details and asked me for information regarding it. Moreover, it doesn't seem like I'm the only person dual orthotic does this whole interrogation shtick on. I saw a number of other people that have been recorded in dual orthotic's mind, but I need to know why it keeps track on a bunch of seemingly random nobodies. Whilst you're in thought, you notice dual orthotic slowly recovering from the after effects. It stops wriggling in the dirt and begins to rise up in front of you. You stand in front of its gaping jaw. We're not having this conversation anymore. We are, if you don't want to experience that pain again. Shh. Of course, I should have known you were the cause of it. If you do that again, I will. Truth be told, I actually can't do insight straight after unless I want to experience the same mental strain. Using insight too many times costs me a certain amount of my siphoned energy. I'm expected to get some more. That's when I thought crossed my mind. Wait, if dual orthotic wants something from me, then at least I can get something in exchange. What if I ask it to make me its siphon? Granted, that wasn't the first objective for this conversation, but given the direction this is going, we both have a certain leverage over each other. But I have something to gain if it's dual orthotic's mental energy. Granted, it may be a bit weak due to its suffering that affects far more than usual, but at least it's something. But I should also focus on not losing anything important to dual orthotic in the process too. Don't worry, it was an accident the first time I used it. More of like an instinctual reaction when a predator seems near. What am I making up this time? I emit an aura that causes a pain in your head, chills, nausea, and, well, whatever else you're experiencing. And you did this when you were scared? When I felt attacked? It's deceiving you. I'm not trying to hurt you. My perception begs to differ. Which is certainly capable, and you blocked the exit, and you made threats about it. Those were just vague gestures, threats. They weren't actual threats on your life. Trying to tread its words. Maybe this shows that it's technically acknowledging my potential. Didn't know about the whole aura mission thing. Listen, I'll gladly tell you anything you want to hear. I'll comply, as long as it suits me. But I have to know that this is a situation of mutual trust. That this isn't one-sided. So if you're going to get to know me, for whatever reason that I need to figure out as well, then I have a right to get to know you as well, see? So the question has become the questionnaire. Yes. Fine. Ask me what you want. But unfortunately, there won't be much to tell. The questioning will now begin. Do you have anything else left to ask? Let me check my journal. Earworm, surveil. Earworm would lead to its species, right? What about them? Are you an earworm? I don't know. Is the sky black? Is water wet? I know you're being sarcastic, but can't deny that there are differences between you and the earworm population. They're small, wriggly, and insignificant. You stand as a behemoth compared to them. Last time I checked, you also don't have those tendrils that you have attached to your face. Since when were you a biologist? I'm not. Doesn't that make your distinct features all the more odd? As someone completely ordinary like me can recognize those differences. I mean, what else would I be if not an earworm? Something deformed, like me? Are you trying to build a connection? This is a dating sim, isn't it? I'm sorry, what? This is not something to necessarily be ashamed of. Take me for instance. I'm a mutant too. Reputable Supreme failed. Damn. I thought you didn't know anything regarding your origins. True, but I did know this. During my youth, I was frequently reminded that I was malformed or misshapen. Must have been a disgrace to endure it. Ha, Hardly. They're merely stating the truth. And there's no reason why I should take offense to it. Can we just move on now? Wait, I can't say that. Speaking of all this, it's a bit strange how different the orthodox is. I'm not made it this way. Do you have anything else left to ask? Surveil? Your power of surveil. What does it do? If you ask me, then you probably know. But I'll amuse you. The power of surveil allows me to hear the last few seconds of a conversation. If I'm feeling good, it can even be the last few minutes. So, this is definitely how I do in my conversation with Fenway and Chromium. With the conversation, you have to lock on a specific target, as in, you get to choose the person you listen on. Deceiving you? No. Most often with the distance caps, I just randomly hear whatever passes by. The power of surveil is my main mechanism for gathering information anyways. Main mechanism? So, is it the orthodox job to get information or something? So, all the bombardment of questions about gathering information about myself. But I have no intrinsic value. My origins are worth nothing. I made it personally difficult to find. But the orthodox, you're doing a pretty good job of digging it up. Granted, as the power of surveil, but surveil alone doesn't disclose my sources of globin and the gnarg. The orthodox surveil could never disclose the location of my house. So, what was the main mechanism for gathering all that information? What? You want to be an inside trader? No, I'm just curious. It's always good to be careful about your curiosity, Silver Tongue. Do you have anything else left to ask? Information? What about it? How do you make sure none of your information gets leaked? It's simple. I signed a contract with all my earworms that they can't break it. Contract? Contract, you say? Well, how are those made? They're woven by custom silk I produced myself. Also tied together with a little bit of arcane magic, so that if anyone breaks one, there will be consequences to suffer. You're a devil. Yikes. I flicks its tail from the ground. But I also have my own needs, goals, and ambitions. Goals? Oh, you have your own goals, do you? Obviously. I don't just live solely for my business. I have a life outside of work. Weird. I never talk to you for someone who has a social life. Say, have you been to any cult parties? Let's just drop this. Do you have anything else left to ask? Goal? I'm asking what drives you to do this. Haha, what drives me? Your goal. The orthotic melts into the ground and wriggles its tail. Why, it's my line of business. It generates my income. Slowly, his body lunges out of the ground and moves closer to my face. It's how I'm still alive. Well, I don't think that's awfully convincing. Nobody pursues a path of information gathering without having ulterior motives. Sure, you could talk of needing an income, but there are multiple other avenues for self-employment. Doing this job, even when you earn a comfortable amount, means you're out for something. Hell, you even own this entire town in Solace. You have an interconnected network of loyal heirlooms to do your bidding. I like to think that you're a humble monster. You don't need much. You don't need anything more than life's necessities. You don't want any excessive pleasures. For Nalam's sake, live in a sewer. That really goes to show you aren't searching for any luxuries. So why do this when you could easily retire? Maybe start investing in banking, or form a cult. With your money. I bet you could even start the process of becoming a great terror. Enough. Didn't take compliments well? That's fine. I don't like being accused of falsehoods. What? Man, I haven't accused you of anything. I'm drawing conclusions. Coming to a logical conclusions. And guess where the sign is pointing me to? And where? It points to me that you're seeking information for something you don't know. There's nothing I don't know. What species you are? You pause for a moment. Considering what you're going to say next could cost you a lot. But you can't stand to remain ignorant forever. After all, if Dual Orthotic went out of its way to get you, of all people here, then that must mean its search for information. I'm guessing it's got something to do with me. doesn't it? Enough of the condescending. So can you tell me why you brought me here? Holothutic slams its tendrils on the ground as its tail surrounds me like a wreath. What else if not for the fact that you spoke to 2 great terrors and survived? That's something pretty incredible, isn't it? Dozens of monsters do it every day. Really? I mean, maybe if they work for them, or one of their worshippers, you falls into none of those categories. Looks like Holothutic doesn't intend on giving away any of its intentions so easily. Guess I have to take a peek inside and look. Well, here we are. 10 minutes? Jesus. Find the answer. The siphon. The final answer is not quest. Oops. Incorrect answer? Wait. So I presume we don't have any further discussion now. I mean, I suppose. No point in asking to be the siphon. I don't have enough leverage to do so. I guess that means I leave empty-handed, without any mental energy. Oh well, at least I can leave in one. I suppose. I suppose what? Oh no, it's nothing. Now if you'll let me go through, that'll be great. Holothutic remained silent for a moment before erupting in laughter. The guffaw shrills and rings against your ears, whilst having a present underlying deep boom. It smiles and begins to jol on its teeth. Did you seriously think I was going to let you go? No, really? Oh, you're priceless. Hilarious, I might say. So, walk me through my plan, tell me about it. I went out of my way to find you, bring you here, ask you questions that result in unhelpful answers, and then I just let you go. As if nothing had happened at all. That's right. I was stupid to think that it would just let me walk free. I got caught up in all the casual persiflage. I forgot the real context of this meeting. The time is still ticking though. It was my mishap. I shouldn't let it happen again. If there is another again. So what happens now? It's simple really. I'm going to leave an implant inside of you. I know where you'll be at times, and I'll be calling you for favors. You've been successful before with great terrorism doing a bidding, so I'll count on you for being a useful resource. Feel free to live as you please, but know that you'll always answer to me if I ever call. Hold on a second. I think we could negotiate there. Ah. You feel a pulsating pain rippling through your arm. You feel like you can't breathe. You close your eyes. After you open your eyes, you find the Holothutic tail grips around your neck and earworms holding your legs down. It's so clear now. Your arms leading with silk, swimming in and out of your blood vessels. Arcane magic dances all around you. That must be the weaving process of forming a contract. You've never witnessed it before. You've never witnessed it done with silk before. Remember, if you disobey our agreement, the seek inside will snap your veins as you slowly bleed from the inside. You'll bleed out in minutes and soon be dead. Ah. And what do you owe me? Nothing. I don't have to uphold anything. It's on you to ensure that you'll always prioritize me over everything else. Also, you should close your eyes again. This may hurt. It feels like it's been hours, but I know only a few minutes have passed. My arm won't stop pulsing, but I'm slowly getting used to the slippery silk navigating up and down my veins. I open my eyes. I see that the exterior of my arm has changed too. Now it's been engraved with arcane symbols. No doubt, in Holothutic's language that I spoke to the earworms in. After a long waiting, Holothutic unlocks the arcane fueled barriers, signaling you to leave. My earworms hooks escort you out. Oh, and also, if you want to have a chat about anything, here's my business card. Damn. Well, being angry won't do anything. Pleasure doing business with you. No, please. Pleasure is all mine. I've seen your work with Finware and Cormium. Keep this up, and you'll be moving on to great things. Airworms emerge from the ground and nib at your feet. An airworm at the front guides you to go outside. You climb outside the way you came. You take a long walk home from Solace. By the time you come home, Paichi is already napping. You make yourself a snack and sit on the ground to try and relax. I'll forget what just happened. The burden and stress of the future weighs on you, but you're determined to fight it. Of course, if only asked to be hired on my own terms, then maybe I wouldn't have ended up here. But no matter. This is how things are. I can still move up in the world. Even if I'm dragged down by a chain. A permanent servant to Dolothotic. I guess I'll have to resolve that one day. Won't I? Blood end. Achilles heel. Z-A-N-R-E-B. It's an anagram. And this is how you sort the numbers out. Or the letters out, I mean. You obtained the first key. I told you, there are clear instructions. I paid you to do this for me. I thought that people could be bought. Guess I wasn't paying enough. There's always a job to do, but who says you have to do it yourself if you have money? You can just go and put full word for answer. Someone else has to do it. Commission. Incorrect answer. You got the second key. Be careful, you only have one chance to get this right. When you press enter, that's it. That's the final answer. Press an answer here. Start typing text below. Fire or money? As soon as you exit the mind of Dolothotic, you hear a bellowing roar erupt from its mouth. It vociferously flashes the wall of ink and sand as it had done before the first time you used insight. The more you use it, the greater the effect it seems to leave on the mind you enter. But even you feel slightly drained from using it twice within one sitting. The power of insight, like all powers, doesn't come without a price. Begin with the pain. From the rooms, I see the air rooms that had come before beginning to aid Dolothotic symptoms. Larvae would chew off the tendrils and a multicolored moisture was applied to its skin. The airworms would be busy pushing sand off and on Dolothotic's head while speaking in the archaic languages before. Perhaps it was some kind of healing ritual for airworms, but it seems to be working. Enough. You are dismissed. The airworms bid a farewell and dive back into the ink of the walls and ceilings. Oh, ha ha ha. Not you. You're not going anywhere. It points all of its tendrils at me. The exact same pain, twice in a row, and it only occurs when you're here. I don't think this is a coincidence, would you say? Dolothotic? I think this must be all some kind of misunderstanding. Misunderstanding what? Perhaps you suffer two incidents of the same pain concurrently, because you are afflicted by some sort of illness? Unnoticed disease? Its roars ringing against my ears, drowning my voice into hollow, rendering everything it has said in comparison as a whisper. The only disease I see here is your delusion, silver-tongued. So denying it would only make things worse. I guess the best thing I can do is be honest. You know what? Fair enough. No more condensation. Condescension? Condescension. Got it. So I'll tell it like this. Now, here's the line you cross before reality in creative liberties. Yes, I caused you pain, but it was to demonstrate something. I can do it again, and your airworms can't heal you every single time, because every single time I do it, the side effects will only get worse for you, until there will be no more you at all. Without a moment's hesitation, Dolothotic speaks the language of the worms again to summon them. Yes, this could only be a bad thing. Hold on there. I never said anything about me following through of doing it again. Oh, there's no need for me to guess if you'll do it again if there is no you. Capiche? Say any last words? You see, that's the funny thing, because I don't think you'd want me dead. Oh yes, I very much want that to be the case. It guffaws at me more, almost in tears because of how ridiculous it thinks the whole situation is. From the grin on its face, I think it'll take immense pleasure in seeing my death right now. But we need to stay away from the outcome. I mean, wouldn't it be foolish to murder the greatest asset you have? I'm sorry, my greatest asset. To tell you the truth, I wasn't being completely transparent about the power of insight. Isn't that what you asked me to explain? For me to come all the way here. So now I'm here, ready to disclose the proper details. So, you were lying before? Yes. Did I not say to specifically comply? And compliance encompasses telling the truth, does it not? Yes, but the past is the past. And to be fair, I wasn't lying as much as I was choosing not to disclose certain details. That still counts as lying. I think it should count as lying. I say it shouldn't. Listen, Dolothodic, you have a process of recruitment where you hire earworms to get your information. That's the monad of your business. But I can elevate this business as your best scout yet. You may be asking what I have over other recruits. And that's my power of insight. And what does your insight do? Apart from causing headaches, which is, I sincerely apologize for, by the way. The power of insight allows me to get a look into the mind of others, which means that, hold on, looking into other people's minds. What does that entail? Good, I have its intention. You think to yourself, in order to compose your thoughts, the orthotic, strangely, has the patience to let you finish doing so. It's not as simple as jump right in and look around type of process, because everyone's mind is so vast. It can feel like entering an infinite abyss and drowning in all the information, which is why, before I enter, I need a few target points to look for so that I don't get lost and stay on track. I call these target points keywords. It's similar to how a cave divers are attached to ropes or distant lines, so that if they go too deep, then they can tug on the rope and climb their way back out of the cave. For me, I need keywords to be my safety rope, but also starting points as to where I should look. Putting it down to memories, values, relationships are still too vague, broad, and abstract. I need to look for something specific. And are you telling me this because as long as I have a good starting point, I can extract information from anyone without them even noticing. You get my drift? You walk forwards, extend your burnt arm in the direction of Dolothotic, and if it could work for you, then you're guaranteed to get any information from anyone. So you're asking me to hire you. You do know what happens if you break, that's why I'm also asking for some of my own demands. Hahaha, of course. Well, what is it? You unintentionally smile. Oh, it isn't much. I need mental energy in order to survive. So my form of payment would have to come in this form, so I could keep living. And this isn't something money can buy. Hahaha, oh I wish. My life would be so much easier. But no, I would need to get the energy from here. I gesture all around me to draw their attention to the lack of anyone else in the room. So you want my power in exchange for me getting a valuable asset. The most valuable asset you'll ever earn. If you're going to discredit me as not worth all the fuss, then why did you abduct me here in the first place? You came here of your own volition. You tried blackmailing me because I was being threatened. And I also knew I was going to be killed, abducted, etc. But I didn't come here myself. Well, I think, listen, past is the past. Yesterday is kidnapping, tomorrow is camaraderie and eternal friendship. Or in this case, a mutually beneficial agreement, I'd say. Well, it doesn't have to be my life force, does it? I just need to get you someone's every month, correct? Well, not completely correct. Believe it or not, insight comes with a downside. When it comes to energy transactions like that, I would need an agreement of the person I gather the life force from. So if you abducted someone here and asked me to take their soul, I couldn't do it if they never gave their accord. I need permission, so to speak. The orthotic wraps its tail around its torso, sliding past the scales like a mosaic. I could hear the rattling of the skin as it hissed in thought. Then what about my airworms? How would they fare? Or what if I let you take the mental energy from my airworms instead of me? I think you're the only one who have the supply I need. I doubt that's true, but I don't see the downside to this, as long as I remain the one in control. You stand confused, but before you say anything, you bite your tongue. Which is why I'm going to draft a new contract for you, and me in order to make it fair. Delicately, a spool of weaver silk descends from the ceiling, glowing with arcane magic. The orthotic gathers its tendrils, now interwoven with the silver spool, to work with the wooden board mechanism. I'm guessing this is how threading or making transcriptions can be done using the silk fabric, and this is the drafting process of the contract. Well, I suppose if the orthotic is going to draft my contract outside, I need to finalize the details on the inside. Using your power of insight, enter the mind of the orthotic. You will leave your mark on the mind, which can say anything you want. A signature, a keyword, or perhaps it's a word that's meaningful to you. Mutant. With my mark imprinted on the orthotic's mind, it acts like a signature of some sorts, meaning that I can siphon their mental energy at any time, as long as the connection is maintained. Congratulations, you've successfully won the orthotic's favor. After our conversation, I quickly exited the orthotic's underground to get up to the surface of Solus. It was scorching, humid, and dead into the middle of the night. People passed by, but nobody knocked. All of them should have been the orthotic's earworms lackeys. However, they seemed to resemble inconspicuous monsters. Anodyne, hardly noticeable. Their figures melt into the atmosphere as the sand mist melts into the dark blotched sky. I suppose this is what I wanted, but there's this feeling where I don't know what's going to happen next. It's no fear, no anticipation, no curiosity. Just the feeling of emptiness that needs to be filled. I turn to see the sundial I planted in the middle of Solus. There's a tingling in my feet and an emptiness encompassing the air. The midwinter sandstorm is approaching soon. I knew then that I had to go. After sunlight turned to the west, I went aboard the Solus Eye Line to go back home. The ride wasn't all that pleasant. It was the only place that I could feel like there was serenity in my life. Home could be calm too. Taking care of Keiichi could be time-consuming. By the time I was back in Barakan, Keiichi was already fast asleep. Huh. Is that the city at the background? Never noticed that. I went over to the drawers and started mixing ingredients in. What am I doing? After everything that's happened these past few days, I'm just sitting here, alone, making myself a meal. I've just earned the favors of two of the great terrors of our world, and managed to successfully undo my greatest threat to my whole career. I should celebrate. For what? I didn't have any equipment or funds to do anything too lavish. No, I know what I need to do. From here on out, I'm drafting a list of names and I'm checking them off one by one. This list will the names of great terrors, old terrors, dark terrors, and whoever stands in my way. Oh, I'll celebrate, alright? My victories will pave the way for my celebration. I'll celebrate by scratching off these names one by one. Slowly but surely, having all of them within the palm of my hands. I'll celebrate by having people kneel at my feet. They'll be honored to even witness my presence. They'll gaze upon my visage, and call my domains works of art. They'll loathe the days that they thought I was nothing. Ha 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 ha. I'll celebrate by ruling this outworld, and I'll be on my own, with no strings attached. No one to answer to, and no one will ever dare disobey my order. Sun End. On the path to rule. I see you have no questions for me, but I appreciate your time. Thank you. It's not often I get to experience the company of others. Wait, I have one last thing to ask of you, which is, would you be interested in exchange? Mutually beneficial, of course, but it's something that could change your life. Silver-tongued. Why would I ever want to make a deal with someone who doesn't exist? No, God, and I still think I'm fake. The chasm now beckons for you to go. Wait, I just need one thing from you. The first floor will close. I suggest you leave. Your soul. And with that, they were gone. So I left the chasm empty-handed. Okay. So we chose Core's side. And killed Myum. So that means we lost against Fernware. Or one against Myum, I mean. Of course, I'm clearly superior compared to the other air rooms in terms of information collecting and efficiency. But that hardly matters. It claims me as a prisoner, whilst it treats the other air rooms like family. Sometimes it whispers to me about a curse and how I need to uplift it. Something about a siphon in the past that had wronged it. But when I ask for a follow-up, the Lithodic grows cold and distant. It sees me as an employee and nothing more, and often keeps me down here, away from my home. I haven't seen Keiichi since. I crave for the day that I could have my freedom as I once did. But each day, I get closer and closer to planning my escape. This is the day that I do it, or die trying. Void End. Hello, Lily. It was a long walk back home. Luckily, I managed to hide inside a passing vehicle to make the trip easier. Silver-tongued. I was wondering when you'd come back. The Lithodic took a while, but I've got it in the bag. Wait, I'm sorry, what happened? Apparently, they wanted to get some information out of me, but it turns out, I ended up being the siphon. I thought you were only focusing on great terrors. I was. I still plan to do so, my small friend. But I couldn't resist the opportunity that was right in front of me. I start laughing. Honest to Holly, I didn't think I could have pulled it off. I guess I can be a little greedy sometimes, but it's still extremely risky. We shouldn't tempt fate. What on earth do you think the Lithodic could possibly do to me? Well, let's see. It knows your address, your sources, and also you. What? It knows about me too. Hey, Silver-tongued, it was nice knowing you, but I think I need to be someone else's parasite. Nyeh. Keiichi bangs against the jar to try and budge it out of the door. The jar barely even shuffles a centimeter. Keiichi, you're not getting out of here. The parasite sighs. I know. Maybe you're right. Besides, what can the air room do anyway? A few days go by. Atop the Celestian Oculus Spire, Korzinski, the clairvoyant, the head honcho of Solus, reigns supreme. I feel the gelid, crisp sand and dust press against my skin. Wrapping the weaves of my scarf against my body, I look up to the tower. I'm almost so close I could taste it. Korzinski is my first old terror that I've managed to get a hold of. Oh, nice. So we're still doing. There's no difference in power between great and old terrors. It's a matter of what they survey. Great terrors are responsible for people. Dark terrors are responsible for concepts. And old terrors are responsible for lands and regions. Turns out, Korzinski and an associate of Fernware's were quite close. If I got my fingers around Korzinski, it could mean my hands all over Solus. Just as you're about to open the spire's gates, You feel a grip on your back. We meet again, Silver Tongue. Orthotic. What are you doing here? I could ask you the same thing, but we already know what's going to happen. Kazinki asked us both to come at the same time, because it wants us to choose one of us over the other. Only one of us can gain its favor. I start grinning. I've already been here once before. Shouldn't be hard to do the same again. Well, guess what, Silver Tongue? I've learned from your tricks. You won't outsmart me again. We'll see about that. Suddenly, the Oculus Spire's gates open, beckoning for both of you to enter the tower. The two of you turn to face each other. May the best monster win. May the best monster win. And with that, we both take a step inside. Moon End. Fall for it twice, and you're a fool. So that's 4 endings, right? Ritual. So after everything, you want to come back here? Why? You? You shouldn't be here. If anything, you despise everything that I am. So why come back? Ha 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 ha. I should have known better. You're always going to be pathetic, and nothing will ever change that. Why do you have that face? What face? The one you have. Normally, it's so disgusting, and it still is. But this one isn't in tears, or completely dejected. If anything, you're smiling. It's because I'm going to get rid of you. Seriously? You can't get rid of me. I'm everything to you. I'm the reason you exist. I'm the reason why you push yourself. Why you're worth anything more than a wrench. It is true that I cannot kill you, but I can change you. Erase you with time. You can't change who you are, Silver-Tongued. You just have to live with yourself. Oh sure, you've tried to ignore me a couple of times, but you'll always be tempted, and I'll always be there. If there's anything I learned, it's this. It's never about who you are. It's who you pretend to be. If I pretend to be sophisticated, I am sophisticated. If I pretend to be powerful, I am powerful. Actions define us in the eyes of others, not the stupid wriggling thought like you. Shut up. You're just bitter. Oh yes, yes, so very, very bitter. And I'll tell you why. Because when you discovered you had the power of insight, you thought, hey, I wonder what's inside my mind. And then you found me. You found only me. Propitio Mater. Oh, it lives on through us. Auspicio Mater will never be dead, no. As long as the last siphon lives, we'll be here. You see, that's what I always thought too. But then I saw how easily I can change people. And I thought it could be easier if I tried to change myself. And this place needs an overhaul anyways. So you think you're doing this now? Not right now, no. It's going to take a lot of time. I just thought I'd give you the warning. And be better than whatever you were to me. You should have never looked into your mind. It was always forbidden. I know. But really, who decides what's forbidden anyways? The conspicuo matter. Thank you everyone. That has been A Monster's Insight. So if you remember from the very beginning of the game, how Silver-Tongued talked about Keiichi going into their mind, and them being able to feel Keiichi because of that, because of insight. I believe that's where they first met that ritual being. As to what that ritual being is, I believe it's the monster that has insight. Or perhaps it's what insight is. Because if you remember from the airworm, the Dilithotic, his species doesn't normally have surveil, and it's the same for Silver-Tongued. Dilithotic doesn't know what species Silver-Tongued is, and why it has its power as well. So whatever the creature is inside our mind, it's whatever gave us insight. Well, that's my thoughts anyway. Once again, thank you everyone for watching, and later.